Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. How is everybody doing? Oh, Chevy's in the house, rocking with the truth, rolls with TYOCOV. Nebulous is in the house. Thank you for being here. I think I saw my girl Pika over here. Shout out to Pika, the only Angie. Thank you for being here. Everybody. Bo, how you doing, love? Bo says, have a great day, everybody. Have a great live. Yes, and you'll be at the doctor's. Shout out to Bo. Hope you're doing okay at the doctor's. Hope everybody's having a great morning thus far. DB, Bella, thank you for being here. Hey, Shannon. Mm, Gotta get my drink. Hey, Nico. Hey, Charlotte. Hey, everybody. I really wish Jordan would talk. Yeah, me too. Hey, Margot. Welcome. Hey, Tina Talks. Everybody, thank you for being here. DB says she's listening and working. Thank you. Tiki, thank you, thank you, thank you. Christina, how you doing, love? Thank you for being here. Persephone Pomegranate. Love your name. So cute. Nola, Lola, Jessica, Nikki, how you doing, love? How are you? Hello from KCMO. As always, thanks for covering this convoluted story. You ain't never lie about convoluted. Let me just say that much. Petty, thank you for being here. Francine, you was trying to catch up on the three last videos. I need to put all the videos in the playlist. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been a lot. Princess, Layla, thank you for being here. Hey, Christina. Hey, little miss. Tinkle Tits, how have you been? I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a restful weekend for the most part, right? Shout out to you guys. Thank you for being here. Nola Lola. Yes, everybody, everybody, everybody. Okay. I'm glad I just got to greet everybody. Glad everybody is here today. Shout out to everybody and thank you for being here. We got to hit the ground running with some of this commentary. It's been a lot, right? So over the weekend, there was a couple of articles that had been released about Mr. Jordan Willis feeling depressed about the accusations towards the murmur of his friends. There was the murder of his friends, right? That being a point of issue for him, of course. Sources close to him are speaking. The victims, and I say victims because I'm still trying to wrap, in my mind, I still feel like these men are victims. Victims of what? I don't know yet, right? It's a lot of speculation, but in my mind, these men were victims of something. They were victims of something. Thank you, love. Thank you for saying that. I'm trying, man. We working on the 50K background. We're not even done yet. But A name says yes, because three grown men walked out of a party, died of hypothermia, yards away from their cards happens every day. Likewise, the party host reads and ignored the urgent texts and calls and the doorbells 4 days. Right, A name. I hear you. Hey, Sup, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Jealousy, disagreement. I don't know. Thank you guys. I'm trying to get to that 50K background, okay? It's getting there. It's getting there. So it's a lot, right? It's a lot to kind of consume, a lot, and the families of the victims, okay? Because, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened to these victims. They're not buying Jordan's story. They're not like, no, they're not. They're more, I would probably say, understanding of Alex, who was the fifth person there and who left. The fifth person who said, they were watching Jeopardy and they were out of there. Like everything was fine. They were alive. Hey, Wim. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming in. So, and the fact that it's going to take like several weeks for this toxicology report to come about, like we can't even get a preliminary. Like, what is up with that? What is up with that? Does that even make sense? I don't think so. It doesn't. So, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out all right, like, they're victims. These men are victims. Victims of what exactly? We don't know. We don't know. Little Miss says, look, something happened, but neighbors said they heard nothing. And them houses are very close together. If people were banging and screaming on my neighbor's house, I'd hear. Just say, right? Jeopardy is a random thing. Okay, Emily says, no, they have a preliminary. They're not sharing it. Interesting, Emily. They have the preliminary, but they're not sharing it. Do you know why they're not sharing it? Has there been an understanding as to why? Let me know, girl. Let me know. Because I thought they couldn't release well, maybe that's what it was. They can't release a preliminary. I don't understand this story and how it logically makes sense. I understand stranger things have happened or can happen, but come on. I hear you. I hear you. Or the cops don't show up or don't want to release a preliminary. But why not? They don't want anybody to run, in your opinion? Potentially. They won't share until all results are in. Says, I don't know why. I just know they ran a preliminary test. Right. We are all feeling impatient because we want to hear about this toxicology test. We do. Hey, B. Tim, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Um, they don't release, but it's not a homicide investigation, right, Teresa? They won't release a test during an ongoing investigation, but it's not a homicide investigation. I don't know. I feel like every department is a little bit different. Like they say they won't do this here, but then they do it in a different department. So God forbid, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? You think that they might have their eye on the other dude? Just strange. Could be wrong though. It could be. That is true. Investigations take time. Internet wants everything now, but in real life, investigations take time. That is very true. So, how do you guys? All right, let me take it back a little bit. You have Jordan Willis, the friend, who says, I had nothing to do with this. Although you would have to, all right, I'm going to take it back even a step further. Jordan Willis said he had nothing to do with this, right? His attorney came on the internet, on social media, and gave one version of events, another version of events, and another version of events. Which version of events do you believe? I kind of shout out to Cinema Shogun because I really liked how he broke it down. He said, in order for anybody to believe Jordan Willis at this point, you would have to unbelieve the stories that he told prior, that his attorney told prior. So, which version of events do we believe with Jordan Willis? That's the problem that I have, right? Because nothing makes sense. They could have taken drugs voluntarily, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's true, though. Right, Pete, if he changed his story 3 times, you don't need a good memory to tell the truth. Which part? That's a good. I mean, well, wow. Whatever he took knocked him down for 2 days. Keep that in mind, okay? Which version of the stories would you believe? Was he telling the truth the first time, the second time, or the third time? Which version of events do you believe from Jordan Willis at this point? And hence why when mom or other families of these victims are speaking out and they're saying, we don't believe this shit, I understand. I completely understand because I wouldn't believe it either, right? I don't know. Let's listen to this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as we're watching.
Has now mother of David Harrington. Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us. I'm so sorry for your loss. And can I just ask, how are you? How have these last almost 3 weeks been for you and your family?
They've been, there's no words to describe how they've been. Day by day, it's different. One day, you're crying and you're just barely getting by, and the next day you're pushing yourself to try to figure out what to do next, and that's hard because you don't know what to do next. I mean, this is something I don't think anybody would know how to proceed, and especially when we don't have any answers yet.
Absolutely.
all we have is a bunch of people telling us, what they think might have happened, but there's no answer. So we just sit and cry, or we try to get through.
The investigation is still ongoing, right? That's what we're hearing. We don't know exactly what caused the death, and we won't even know until toxicology reports come about. That's my understanding. Now, say that these tox reports come out, and it shows, and I've asked this question before, it shows that they all took something. Now what? How do we know that they accidentally took something that all three men, look, it's just weird to me. They took something. All three men died of hyperthermia, right? But did they voluntarily take something? Did they, like, let's say it was reckless. Let's say Jordan said, I'm going to bed. He's not thinking. He sleeps for 2 days while his friends are dead outside or dying. He takes something. They all take something at this party. How do you determine whether somebody voluntarily ingested something versus something was put into somebody's drink, or something was laced, or something was put in their food? Right. That is an assumption, right? Apparently a lot of people can sleep for 2 days. That's what they said. You said, I think it's going to come back drugs, but no one will be charged. And if one of the guys does, they'll take the other down with them or blame them. You are not the only person, Sunshine Red, who has said that. I think that they were an experiment. People have said that as well. They have to look at access the scientists had at work. That's a great question. See, Pika, you're not the only person who said this. If it's a designer drug, or at least ask this, will the tox results pick up that the drug, if they don't have a test for it yet? You're talking about a Scientologist, or I mean, not Scientologist, let me stop, a PhD scientist, okay? This has been public information, okay, where his work and everything. I mean, he has an About Me page for the company that he works for that has been published on the Daily Mail, news, all over the place, that totally tells you about his background. One of the sentences that stood out to me out of this whole thing is how he likes to think of the immune system as a military academy where we are training soldiers' antibodies to fight HIV. So who's to say? We don't know. I don't know this man like that, right? But this is a great question, Zena. How do we know whether he was I know I almost said Scientologist. I meant to say scientist. I swear. I've been thinking and breathing Scientology all weekend, and I'll explain further later on. I promise y'all. I promise y'all. Too many changes to believe in the word for now, right? This is why I think Cinema Shogun, when he said it, he's like, which version do you believe? I empathize that at the stress level, but I empathize more with the families. Y'all are killing me in the chat. LOL, Rabbit being a suppressive person already this morning. All weekend, I promise you. I promise y'all I'll get back to that. I just haven't had. There's some stuff I've been sitting on, and I can't even say a whole lot right now. But let me get back to myself. Y'all stop. I got ADHD and I'm not medicated. Let me get back to it. It's a lot of speculation to this, and none of this sits well. And so you have this man who apparently close to a source is telling the source, I'm depressed. I'm being accused of this. And even though I empathize with the fact that because we really don't know, for all we know, Jordan could be innocent of whatever, right? But I empathize more with the families that feel like they're being not told all the information's being withheld, and all this stuff, right? Like, I empathize more with the families. because they want answers, and I, in my opinion, feel like they're not really being given anything. Levinson, he's not innocent. I want to know exactly what the crime was. We need some toxicology reports, but of course it's going to take time, right? Right? And it goes back to this. What if they saw something they weren't supposed to see? Right? Like, what if they really, really saw something and they weren't supposed to see? I was thinking about this too, and maybe you guys can tell me your thoughts. This is 3 men, right, that are seemingly healthy. Family is not reporting them as drug addicts. 3 men. If it was 1 man that died, I guess my understanding would be a little bit different, but 3 men? Cynthia, I think everybody is hyper fixated on Jordan's qualifications. I would say so, myself included. I think we all are. I think we all are. Now, I don't know Jordan personally, but I don't know. And who's his employer? I don't know.
I don't know what to do. I'm lost, basically.
Jennifer, we just heard from Jordan Willis's attorney there. Do you have a message for Jordan Willis tonight?
I do. I keep, I just saw the lawyer say that he purchased those tickets so that they could go to a game. Well, people do things with good intentions, but then something bad can happen that you didn't plan on. And obviously that's what's happened. Something came up that wasn't intended to happen. And with that, I want Jordan to come forward and say, this wasn't meant to happen, but this is what happened. I did this, or I saw this. Just tell us. I know he's scared, but he was there. He participated in whatever happened that night. He had to know. And he's the only one left that knows what happened. And I think that's why he didn't answer the text messages that people sent him. And I think that's why he waited so long to let anybody know what happened with the men.
Well, and Jennifer, can I ask you about that with the time?
All right. Do you think Jordan knows exactly what happened and he just avoided the phone calls, the text messages, the knocks at the door? Do you guys think Jordan knew exactly what happened? He just avoided it all. He didn't want anything to do. Like, he was like, what was, I don't know. Cause I think part of me feels like if this was, you don't know, man, this could have been a big accident, or maybe he truly didn't know and he just avoided. Well, that's right. You think he panicked once they OD'd? Noah says, I think he messed up and didn't realize it. Well, that's the thing. It's like, let's put your comment there. He would qualify for the dumbest criminal, right? So if Jordan intentionally, look, I think it was Kate who said it in my comments the other day. She said, murder requires intentionality. Could this have been a huge accident and then it went from an accident to not knowing how to respond, or a big kind of like disassociation of the situation, right? And so that's what happened. Maybe he doesn't fully remember everything because of whatever was done. But I would agree with you. Like, if there was intentionality behind him, this would be the dumbest kind of crime to commit, right? He isn't hiding the bodies. He's not. If he put them in the backyard, or if they were dragged there, if they were placed there, that would be a stupid crime to commit, because, well, he would get caught up, right? So this is the part where I kind of think and I wonder, well, was it an accident and he truly was not aware of this possible accident, or he made himself aware later on and didn't think about it or didn't react to it? Delayed reaction. Some of you guys have said even like mental disassociation from shock could be, or whatever was taken. Jordan cannot admit to drug use because of his job, so deny, deny, deny. Involuntary manslaughter. It's a lot. See, and that's the thing, is that if they were drugged outside, there would be marks of that too, right? In the snow. Wouldn't it be abuse of a corpse charges for moving them? That's what I'm saying. What if he didn't move them? What if this was literally just like, oh my God, you literally, if they took something and they had a really bad trip, and say he knocks out on the couch for 2 days while he's thinking his friends left. No, the 3 of them are all dead outside. But you mean to tell me that none of these men, like these men were incapacitated? They didn't move. They didn't hit a window. Y'all see those windows from the back area in that backyard? They didn't kick a window. They didn't yell. Or run to the car to get warm. Like, that's how incapacitated they were. GHB, potentially. It just doesn't sound right. But see, this is the part where I kind of like beat myself, where I'm just like, I don't know if this was like intentional planning of his part, right, AMAC? Or leave the yard. It is a crazy situation. Yeah, it seems easy to break in if they were locked out. Right. So if the windows, I don't know if you guys saw the windows from the picture, easy to kick in one of those windows. But did they take something that would make them incapacitated? They couldn't walk out. They couldn't go to their car. They couldn't knock at a window store. They couldn't do anything. Was the snow that bad, or was it so high up, or was it just so cold that they were so incapacitated? In my opinion, only all 4 took something, but Jordan stayed in the house and passed out while the guys were outside dying in the backyard. The only reason he's still here, warm in a house. Where did I hear? This is the piece that I heard where when he answered the door, or at least opened the door after they found the first corpse, he had a wine glass bottle, like it was nothing was going on. Like, was he really that disengaged from his surroundings? It just doesn't make sense. And he's on the house, and yeah, no, I hear you, love it. I hear you. It is a damn crazy. It's crazy, because no matter how you tell the situation or the story, no matter how you spin it, you kind of like are in this pendulum. You're just like, well, I could see it this way, I could see it that way, right? How she broke it easily. I don't know, you guys. And let's put aside, like Cynthia said, let's just put aside the mad scientist part, or the scientist part, PhD part. Cynthia, shout out to you. Yeah, we don't have any evidence to make sense the internet hangs out. And I like the comment that you made earlier. Let's just say that let's not hyper focus on the job for a minute. Say that he was a construction worker or a plumber, and not a PhD scientist researcher. Let's just put that he was a construction worker, or a fucking plumber, something like that, right? The whole circumstances about the way these men died, it's still sketch. It's still off, no matter what. This is why the internet is talking about it, because none of it makes sense. If he was a plumber, he'd be in jail. You think so? Oh, Lord have mercy. Wait. Sandy says, now he could move them in the snow. There's no tracks. The host went inside his drug state and passed out while his friends passed out and froze. No foul play, no memory of it. You know how hard it is to move 3 large bodies? I mean,
time we have left, and there are two quick things I wanted to ask you. So, his lawyer said technically Jordan received the messages, but he did not see them. Are you crying foul on that? Do you not believe that?
I think it's false just because I know I heard from several people that said they kept texting him. They went and knocked on the door. They banged on the door. She had to break in, but somebody went earlier in the day. How could you keep missing texts and people knocking on your door and not notice anything, not receive, any of that? I think he saw it and got scared and didn't know how to respond.
And Jennifer, lastly, what do you think happened that night, and what do you make of the speculation surrounding drugs? Any thoughts about that?
I don't know what happened. I know none of these men are drug addicts. I know
none of these men are drug addicts. You think lies are coming from everywhere? Yeah, why wouldn't he respond? You say, let me look around. I don't know. Let me look at your guys' comments. Did they try and look over the fence? I think they all took something. Whoever supplied the drugs is at fault. They all would have been together, all 3 men. Why 2 in back and 1 in front? They were friends. All right. This is an interesting question. And I don't know if it makes sense at this point, but I did think about this. How often did these men, because clearly they would get together and watch a football game. Was this the first time that maybe they stayed at his house or went out? Was this the first time they actually ever got together at Jordan Willis's house? I wanted to understand this piece because there was a lot of confusion that was reported on the high school friends piece, right? They were high school friends. What does that mean? So was there any did anything like this similar, not the, clearly not that they're dead, but them staying at their house, at each other's houses? Did this ever happen before? For a long period of time. I wanted to understand that relationship a little bit more. Kim says there's a cover up here. This case is ridiculously insane. Any regular person would be under investigation immediately, being interrogated by police. You don't pass out on shrooms or mushrooms? People don't go to bed on LSD? Lord have mercy. Look at this. Neighbors would see them from their second floor window if they looked outside. Interesting, Zena. I really have a hard time because it was 3 of them outside. Even if they smoke, I doubt all 3 of them went back there or just stayed out there. That is the piece that I don't understand. Shell says, could one of them spike a pizza with LSD mushrooms, or they took LSD without knowing? Just microdosing. I thought maybe they were tripping. This is interesting. One of the 3 may have scored coke or a blunt and may have unknowingly have been laced with fentanyl, like has happened to many others. Wait until the complete results release. Oh man. But even if it was lace, this is the piece that is so crazy to me, all right? That we have to keep circling back to this, all right? Let's just say that the tox report is released and it says that that it was lace, that there was fentanyl. What is that going to mean? Is that going to mean that they were intentionally drugged? Or is that going to mean that they weren't intentionally drugged, or this was involuntary manslaughter, or because they're not treating it like a homicide from the get, right? So even if that is the case, even if, because I already tell you guys, I haven't seen the toxicology report, but I could probably, and I'll eat crow if I have to, but I could probably bet that there was something in the system of all these three men. But even if it does come back with something in the system, what does it mean? What is it going to mean for the investigation? Is it a wrongful death suit? Because it's not being treated as a criminal matter. And like I said, I feel like we're wasting time there. Well, okay, hold up. Let me see. It means nothing. It means the guy did it to themselves. All three of them, Cat D? All three of them? I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. It says, how did she see the other bodies or not see him sleeping in the house? It's a lot of questions. Ava says, no, it means there has to be more burden of proof to bring to prosecution or to the prosecutors. No, it's not a wrongful death? I'm just wondering, what does it mean? It means that they all did drugs together? I'm just wondering. Because like I said, they could have very well done drugs together. But if like that toxicology report could say a bunch of things. And I feel like a lot of us are kind of going in that route. We're assuming that they all died of something, of some substance. But even if that is the case, what does it mean? Because they're not looking at this as any foul play. Just a question.
You know that there's speculation that, oh, they must have been doing this and that. And it, something may have happened that night. I don't know. I want people to know that this wasn't their life. And if something was provided that night, I know that none of them had the means to provide that. And that's part of the reason why I think there's a problem, is that all of them were taking care of their families and their bills and did not have money for that kind of thing.
What does that mean? I'm sorry. And I believe this is David Harrington's mother. Every time she speaks, I feel like she drops little things of, I don't want to say nuggets of information, but tell me that something is not in their system without telling me that there's something not in their system. Like I'm picking up that she either has been listening to social media or either knows something. And right. Something is going on here. Hold up. Did you guys hear there? I had to move this right here. Look. Listen to what she says. And it's not the first time as she speaks that I'm like, I feel like you're saying a lot here.
That night, I know that none of them had the means to provide that. And that's part of the reason why I think there's a problem, is that all of them were taking care of their families and their bills and did not have money for that kind of thing.
Jennifer Marquez, I hear you.
Do y'all hear that? They wouldn't have money for that kind of thing. So does she feel like they were given something and they ingested it?
Happens. I know none of these men are drug addicts. I know that.
Okay.
There's speculation that, oh, they must have been doing this and that. And it, something may have happened that night. I don't know. I want people to know that this wasn't their life. And
I would agree. She doubts their finances, did not have any money for that type of thing. What thing? You see what I'm saying? Positive vibes. You're picking up. A lot of you guys are picking up on what she's putting down a lot. She's saying a lot of here. Yeah, you don't need to be an addict. I mean, honestly, like people die on the first use of something. So you don't need to be an addict for anything. You don't. But she's dropping small amounts of information here, guys.
if something was provided that night. I know that none of them had the means to provide that. And that's part of the reason why I think there's a problem, is that all of them were taking care of their families and their bills and did not have money for that kind of thing.
What would they need money for?
Jennifer Marquez, I hear you. And
what would they need money for?
And I'm so sorry again for what you are experiencing. I hear you, that you and your family just feel lost right now. And there's so little information. We appreciate you making the time tonight. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
I mean, like I said, she says a lot without saying a whole lot. It's very sad. I do feel like these men are victims of something. Victims of what exactly is to be determined. But I do feel like these men were victims of something. Listen to how she speaks and what she's saying. I don't know. So, Kansas City Chiefs fans' death. Jordan Willis depressed over wild speculations about pals. Sources say the mad scientist agenda is absolutely ridiculous. Close to Jordan Willis's family said. So, what do you guys think? The man is upset. You know, he's being accused of the murder of his friends. It's a lot.
Welcome back. Idaho Judge John Judge is considering a request for a summer.
Oh Lord, we are not talking about
and a chair.
Brian
I don't
Kober.
think that I can ever fully heal until I find out what happened, and I'll never be fully healed. I admired my brother so much.
Wow.
That was Jonathan Price, the brother of one of the 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans found dead and frozen in the backyard of another friend's house earlier this month after gathering to watch the Chiefs play the Los Angeles Chargers. For more on this bizarre case and the new details of another friend there that night, we're joined now by former FBI special agent and Fox News contributor Nicole Parker. Nicole, no one better to sort of weigh in into the really litany of unanswered questions and holes in this story. Where do you begin?
It's a lot of unanswered.
First of all, I begin, it's extremely bizarre. We all recognize that this is not something that happens every day, that there are 3 grown men that are found frozen. I personally, as an investigator, when I come up onto the scene, I would want to see exactly how those bodies were found, the condition of them. 1 was on the porch, 2 were in the yard. The inconsistencies of the individual who was hosting the party. His attorney originally came out and had one set of, information that he was presenting to the public, and then that story has changed over and over.
So which one do we believe? Remember, it goes back to that question. It's like, in order for anybody to believe Jordan Willis, which version of the story would you believe?
And as you notice now, that attorney is saying, you know what, I'm going to stay silent until we get the results back, till we get more information on the autopsy, the toxicology. As an agent, the autopsy and toxicology are absolutely critical to get a better picture. Were these individuals, did they have alcohol in their system? Did they have drugs in their system? What was the cause of this? And in the autopsy, it has, 2 parts. There's always the cause of death, which is the medical term of, what actually was the cause of death, as well as the manner of death, which is typically identified as, a suicide or accidental or natural or homicide or sometimes undetermined. And that's going to be extremely key. The problem here is that these families are suffering. They want to understand what happened to their loved one and how did this even occur?
Yeah.
And so
and that's the piece that I personally feel like they deserve answers. The family deserves to have their questions answered as much as they can have them answered. You know what I'm saying? This is the piece that I just don't understand. Sheena says, what about carbon monoxide? Maybe Jordan went to bed upstairs, left his friend sleeping on the couch. Then he wakes up in the morning, finds his friend dead, freaks out, and moves him outside. Why carbon monoxide inside the house? And he would stay there in the house? I think that would be it would be hard for me to believe carbon monoxide because of the way carbon monoxide works. Like, I wouldn't stay in any vicinity where there's carbon monoxide. If it's downstairs, it's probably going to go upstairs, right? So I don't know. And he stayed in the house the whole time with carbon monoxide? I don't know. I don't know if I believe that.
They want answers, but the problem is it does take time. These autopsy reports, I'm understanding for this
Gotcha.
case, may take a few, up to 6, 8, 12 weeks to get the toxicology and the autopsy reports back. So this is going to be something they're going to have to live with for a little while until they have answers.
And you
That's
mentioned
sad.
the attorney for the fourth friend. So the fourth friend, a gentleman named Jordan Willis, is renting this home where these three individuals have frozen to death. And the attorney named John Paserno made this statement, which really raised eyebrows for me. Listen here.
Mm.
Nobody contacted him during the course of those 2 days on his telephone, either by calling his telephone or by sending him a text message. He did get one message on his Facebook Messenger from the fiance of one of the deceased, but he did not read that message until after the police had already come to his house.
See, and then right there, he's lying. He just said nobody contacted him, but then he starts with, he did receive one message. So which one is it? It's an absolute. His statement is an absolute. Which one was it? Did nobody contact him? I don't believe it either. So which one is it? Which one is it? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like he says nobody contacted him, but he did receive a message. Well, that's a form of contact. I said, no, I don't know. I mean, like giving attorneys a bad name. I'm sorry. Get a new attorney. I said it before. I said, this guy is a joke. Hold up. Let's see for this commercial to stop. All right. Hold up. Where were we at on the little attorney? What did he say? Nobody contacted him. Here we go.
Either by calling his telephone or by sending him a text message during the course of those 2 days on his telephone, either by calling his telephone or by sending him a text message. He did get one message on his Facebook Messenger from the fiance of one of the deceased, but he did not read that message until after the police had already come to his house.
And some family and friend members of the three deceased are saying that's not the case. Listen, if I were to go over to a friend's house and drop dead and my wife knew where I was going, you can bet she would be calling the friend who owned that house. Do you see a problem with this statement?
I actually do. And the problem is that this is very easily, you're able to find this evidence very easily as an investigator.
Pretty much.
To track someone's records of, the phone calls that were made, their social media records, things of that sort. That is easily, that is evidence that can be easily determined. And so it's not a good idea to start making false statements. Again, I'm not saying that false statements were made, but it is extremely odd that an individual's friends were missing for 2 days and he doesn't even acknowledge phone calls, text messages, or anything. And the fiance had to literally break into the home and go into the home because he was unresponsive and he was sleeping for 2 days with noise canceling headphones. It doesn't sound accurate, and the inconsistencies, there's just many holes in this, and that's quite alarming.
A lot of them. In now there's a fifth individual apparently that was involved. I want to quickly, I've only got about a minute left, and I want to weigh in on one other thing because I'm fascinated. You may have seen Taylor Swift. Full disclosure, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. Taylor Swift had some deep fakes, some AI images that were turned into porn.
Lord.
The Swift fans are fighting against this. It actually came up at the White House. Listen here.
We're not talking about Taylor Swift. Anyways, moving on. So that happened. Let's talk about Jordan Willis and his being upset, with these accusations. Jordan Willis hosts a Faithful Chiefs watch party, depressed by accusations he played a role in three pals' death. Report. Jordan Willis, the man who hosted the Faithful Kansas City Chiefs party, where 3 men froze to death, is devastated by the loss of his pals and very depressed by nationwide accusations that he may have had something to do with their deaths. Not only is the whole country accusing him of murdering his friends without factual details, evidence, or any charges at this time, But he also lost 3 close friends. A source who spoke on the condition of anonymity told Fox Nation Saturday. He didn't get to say goodbye or go to their funerals due to their circumstances of these wild speculations and accusations. Have they had the funerals yet of these men? I didn't think that they did because they're still, I could be wrong, but have they had funerals? Um, Interesting. I mean, okay. No one seems to be willing to wait for results of the toxicology report or wait for any other facts from the police department from a case that is still under investigation to make these speculations. You don't buy any of this? Oh, Lord, look at you guys. Okay, okay. You said, okay, I'm being very super irritated with everyone saying they froze to death. Hello, we don't know the cause of death. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Erin. Shout out to Erin. She's like, listen, okay, all right. Rayleigh says that if I had all this attention and even completely innocent, I would hire a lawyer and try to distance myself as much as possible. I'm not a people, I'm not a people person and would feel attacked. That would make sense. Um, Doxwell says, I can't believe he just turned on 3 of his friends and killed them in his own yard. Oh, Lord. Good point. Where is the CCTV from the other houses in the area? Um, that's a great question. I don't know. You don't buy any of this. They said at the very minimum, warn people that their marijuana and other drugs are laced with the poison fentanyl that will kill them. Huh. Mm. Well, again, this is the sources speaking on behalf of, or at least sharing on behalf of Jordan Willis. The source slams rumors that Willis was telling friends that David, Ricky, and Clayton had frozen to death in days leading up to the tragic January 9th discovery. Willis's own family reportedly first learned of the tragedy through the media, weren't sure whether their loved ones was among the dead, according to sources. The HIV research scientist spent 48 hours asleep on the couch next to a loud fan wearing noise canceling headphones. We already know that piece. Um, People said that the mad scientist's agenda is absolutely ridiculous. The source close to the Willis's family said, well, that is what people are dubbing him, the mad scientist. I mean, that's what people are saying. The fact that he is a scientist is irrelevant. What's probably important to know, and maybe a reason why these families are saying they don't know Jordan, Jordan went to high school with several of these guys. After college, he spent probably close to 10 years in Nashville and San Diego doing his graduate and postdoctorate work, the source said. He went back to KC 4 or 5 years ago and at some point reconnected with his high school friends. The diehard fans routinely shared pictures of themselves decked out in the Chiefs' regalia to watch the game. We're planning on ongoing to on a January 13th game with tickets Willis bought for the group, which wasn't the first game he had taken them on to this season, the source says. Willis's dad previously told the Post that his son had treated his friends to a game just one day before the tragedy. I don't know. I don't know. Let me see. Is this no, it's not, love. It's not, Regina. If we're dabbling with pharmaceuticals, they were sampling. Okay, Joseph says, now what? It was laced with, and who laced it? It's not looking good for dude who sleeps for 48 hours. Only people coming off of meth binges doesn't seem like that type of dude. I usually don't get tied up in these cases because it's hard to establish facts from BS. Way to get into science, kids. Lord, I mean, I don't know. What if it was just a drug thing? They all took it, and then the scientists took it as well. I don't know. Look at you guys. Look at you guys are going in on this chat. Okay, all right. All right, all right. Joseph says, I personally don't think drugs just went out to smoke a J and it was laced with something. All three of them, though? Criminal negligence, failure to render aid, abuse of a corpse, obstruction of justice. Mel La, where would the obstruction of justice occur? Do we know that that's what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where we're at. What I know is that they're not investigating this as a homicide. And that's what I think is the big mistake. But then again, law enforcement told folks, the family, well, everything's going to make sense once it all comes out. What does that mean? What do they mean by everything was going to make sense once it all came out? Like the toxicology, because I said the toxicology report could say whatever it wants to say. Let's just put it out here. It probably says that they had drugs in their system. And then what? What then? If it said, this is the piece that I feel like we're getting stuck on this toxicology report. At this point, does it really matter what it says? I don't think it does. I honestly don't think it matters what it says, because I could tell you it probably says drugs. What I want to know is, did they intentionally take drugs? Was it a one-time thing? Is that what caused the death? Was it poison? Gotcha. Thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, I got an email and I heard about the fact that when hypothermia kicks in, people start undressing. Thank you. Plot twist. What if it was unsocial butterfly? Girl, right. What if it wasn't even drugs for all we know? It could have definitely not been drugs whatsoever. But I have a feeling that it probably was. I just don't know if it was like all of them. They could have all, exactly. I mean, they could have all consented to drugs. Jordan decided to stay inside, slept it off for 2 days while his friends froze to death outside. Yeah, and we don't know if that's what happened to these three. We don't know if they immediately started to undress themselves. We don't know. What really kills me is like, all right, this is where I say the pendulum swings. Sometimes it's like, I can understand there being like an accident, right? What if this was an accident, hence no foul play? These men all decided, took something. Doesn't mean that they are drug addicts. Maybe they experimented with something. You know what I'm saying? A one-time thing, okay? All four of them, 5 of them for all we know, okay? They all did something. Alex left. Jordan stayed behind. All 3 of them took something. The 3 of them outside, Jordan inside, slept for 2 days while his 3 friends froze to death. Not just froze to death, but maybe something in their system that they take might have got the better of them. That's what I would think. That's what I would think. And the neighbors saw nothing. And it gets, here's the thing, Purple. There was windows on that back area they could have kicked in. They didn't. Whatever they took might have disoriented them to the point that they had no idea. We don't know if they were naked. We don't know. That's what I think. Because honestly, it only takes one time it only takes one hit for some people. This is 3 what seems seemingly healthy men, okay? Healthy men, and they took something. Unfortunately, that's would make more sense to me. Now, I also see the other side of that. I also feel like, wait a minute, it's just a really weird coincidence that these 3 men died, and that the attorney that is representing Jordan through these social media battles is giving 3 versions of the story. Is that a pretty shitty attorney? I would say so. I told you guys 3 or 4 days ago, I said, if my attorney would just give a statement and shut up and be quiet and not be all over social media giving different interviews. But whose version of the story do you believe based on what's been told? Do you believe the first, the second, or the third version? Because that's really what has like started shit on social media was Jordan's attorney.
There's a deepening mystery in Kansas City following the deaths of 3 men. Their bodies found frozen in a friend's backyard after watching a night of football.
It doesn't make
CBS's
sense.
Astrid Martinez joins us now with more on the investigation and family reaction. Astrid.
Good evening, Derica. Well, tonight police say no foul play is suspected, but the grieving family members say they are still eagerly awaiting a medical report.
It doesn't make sense.
Definitive clues into what killed these men or how these men died.
We're in a really hard place right now.
Growing frustration from the mother of David Harrington. Her son, along with Ricky Johnson and Clayton McGinney, were found dead nearly 3 weeks ago, frozen outside a friend's Kansas City rental home. What do you think happened?
Honestly, I don't know. I know my son was not a drug addict. I know these men were not drug addicts.
Police say the longtime friends went to Jordan Willis's house on a snowy January 7th to watch the Kansas City Chiefs play. After the game, family of the 3 men say they couldn't reach them. According to police, 2 days later, one of the men's fiancé went to the house looking for him. When no one answered the door, she says she broke into the home and found a body on the back porch. Police discovered 2 more in the yard.
That's crazy.
Adriana Juarez is the mother of Ricky Johnson's child.
How do you not know there's 3 dead bodies in the back porch?
Police say Willis, who hosted the men, told him he saw his friends leave through the front door. Then he went to sleep with headphones on and a fan and didn't see texts from worried family and friends.
And then he changed the story. This is the piece. We don't know. Which side of the story do you believe? Which version? This is why the pendulum swings on this story. We don't really know. And somebody said in here, hold up, let me see what y'all, somebody said a very interesting comment that I wanted to highlight. Hold up, whose comment was it? It was very interesting. I sleep with no fan no matter how cold it is. Some people do. That's true. Research scientists spend their time behind a screen reading. True, but at the same time, if they all took the same drug from the same supplier, this was the comment, they were all laced with some same thing, and potentially one person had no effects, but the other 3 could. Well, who's to say that? All right, we keep thinking about this supplier. People have said that Alex was the plug. I don't know if that's the case. For all we know, Jordan could have been the plug. For all we know, Jordan could have been the one that supplied them with stuff. Just because, okay. All right, let me take it back a little bit. It's not that complicated. It's like it would not surprise me that a PhD person uses drugs. You know, or whatever kind of job you may have. It would not surprise me that they are their own person that deals and grows and stuff like that. It just wouldn't surprise me. So for me, it's like we're getting in this like Breaking Bad drug supplier thing or whatever that I'm like, I really don't think it's that complicated. You know, it really isn't. It's just maybe they just all use drugs. Yeah, drugs don't discriminate. So it's like, why are we complicating the situation? Jordan could have been just as much of somebody that uses recreationally. It wouldn't surprise me. Y'all don't even know how many lawyers, PhDs, academic professors, people in white coats, blue coats, purple coats, red coats, they'd be using the drugs. They could be their own plugs for all we know. We're looking at Alex, who has this background, and I get it. But come on now, we can't all be that blind. Anybody could be a supplier. Anybody. And what is a supplier exactly? Is it somebody that's bringing in the drugs? A plug? What if it's not even a plug? What if it's something that they all tried and they just bought it off the street or bought it off the neighborhood and then they just took it? Let's not complicate the story, right? It don't have to be a plug or it don't have to be a supplier. It could just be something that they bought off of a dealer. A plug is somebody who basically supplies, I don't want to say it's a drug dealer. It's just somebody who has stuff on them all the time. So if you bring a plug, like if somebody calls somebody a plug, or like if I have not that I do, but if I have a plug, you know, it's somebody that I know is going to hook me up with whatever I need. It's not always a dealer, okay? But I'm just trying to like make sure that we don't get lost in this mumbo jumbo legal, because I was really thinking about this. I said, it's not that complicated. For all we know, Jordan could have been, he could have had something. He could have bought something off the street or off of somebody else, and he could have been the person. Yeah, it's typically a middleman, but I honestly don't think that it is that complicated as people are making it. Is that weird? No, not that I don't do that. All right. I don't do that. Get it together. All right. Drug free. That's what I want to be. All right. Especially because, I got baby bunny, so I can't be doing all that crazy shit right now. Wait until she gets older. Maybe. We'll see.
Jordan Willis's attorney says his client is not responsible for his friends' deaths.
Jordan had absolutely nothing to do with the deaths of his 3 friends.
And police say that it could take up to 6 more weeks for that medical report to be released to the public. Jerika?
Astrid, such a bizarre story. Thank you.
Yep.
Exactly.
So it's a lot. It's a lot, right? It's a lot people aren't saying, a lot of speculation, a lot. It is. Drug-free is the way to be.
Is begging for answers today.
We're at a loss. We don't know what to do.
Norma Chester's son was one of the 3 men found in the backyard of a Kansas City home on January 9th, apparently frozen to death. It happened after they left a watch party at a friend's house as they cheered on the Kansas City Chiefs.
None of it is making sense.
Touchdown! The victims have been identified as David Harrington, Clayton McGinney, and Ricky Johnson. Norma is Johnson's mother.
Have the authorities told you anything about a possible cause of death?
Nothing whatsoever. I have to believe they froze to death, but how they got there and why they were there so long is baffling.
With so few answers, there's been speculation that drugs could have been involved.
It could have been a situation, too, where maybe they're inside and they do the drugs, and then 3 of them are not feeling well. I'm going to go outside, get some air, and then like soon after that, they OD. I don't know. And the one guy stayed on the couch, maybe passed out.
Do you believe, as some are speculating, that drugs may have been involved?
I can't say that they're not, but all 3 men did.
The football watch party was held at a friend's house. He has been identified as Jordan Willis, a research scientist. His lawyer says he fell asleep on the couch after his buddies left and did not realize they were all dead in his backyard until 2 days later.
This guy brags on being a scientist. I mean, all I can think of is what did he concoct?
News Nation's Ashley Banfield is...
And that's the piece. People need, like, they need to, this family needs answers because, they are saying a lot of things on social media, and rightfully so. If they're not going to get their answers from law enforcement, if law enforcement is not like being transparent, at least with the families, then they should go to the media, right? So I hear what she's saying. I do believe that these men are victims of something. I don't know what that is yet. They're victims of something.
Following the mystery.
When it comes right down to it, the toxicology is going to tell us a lot.
The lawyer for the homeowner says his client has known the 3 victims for more than 20 years.
Wow. And that's the piece. It's like, dude, like, don't you feel like you owe more to these families? I don't know. Like, I personally feel like they would owe more to the families, that there needs to be some level of transparency by law enforcement. We don't know. And like I said it in the other lives. For all we know, breaking news could be there's an arrest and we don't even know. That would be crazy breaking news. But we don't know. And the families, they are going on social media and they're saying different things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, I will let you guys go because I got to get my day started. I'll be live later on today. I got to talk about some Scientology stuff that's been happening. I will talk to you guys later unless there's like some kind of breaking news. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thank you. And if you're feeling the background, shout out to us. Look, I'm trying to make this channel look like a 50K channel. Okay, we're getting there. We're not done. We're getting there. Thank you. You guys have a great, beautiful Monday. Hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Rabbits out.